is the Porsche Panamera GTS. This is the Type 976. This is the third generation of the Panamera. However, the design changes are quite evolutionary. In fact, Porsche has carried over the doors, the platform as well as the sheet metal from the previous generation of the car, because the changes are mostly to the suspension, which is for the e-hybrid, which gets active suspension. This one has no electric assist, yes, because this is the GTS, priced at rupees 2.77 crores on road Mumbai. But this particular car costs more than rupees 3 crores because of 35 lakhs worth of optional kit, because of which this car is a dream. And that's the reason Porsche has actually written dream on the key on both the sides. In fact, if you notice, the color of the car matches the color of the key, or vice versa, because this is optional, priced at rupees 1.51 lakhs just to paint the color of the car on the key, which is absolutely crazy. Unlock the car, lock the car and open the boot of the vehicle, the Porsche logo here. I know it's quite premium, but I can paint this for a lot less. Anyways, coming to the car, this one looks phenomenal. It turns attention like almost nothing else on the road. Straight away, let's open the engine bay, because this is a V8. There's a strut brace right there. Engine actually doesn't have much space here. That's kind of surprising. And there's insulation right here as well. If you notice, you can't see the battery here because that is actually in the boot. Washer fluid goes in right there. And let's quickly shut this, because this car's paint actually looks phenomenal. It looks so damn awesome. But the big highlight here are these lights. These are the Matrix HD lights, priced at rupees 5.84 lakhs. Yes, optional. You have these 4-point LEDs. You've got 4 projectors on the inside. Okay, this doesn't seem like a projector. This seems like something else only. Okay, it is actually a projector. I don't know, but you know what? These lights are super duper advanced. So advanced that they can actually dim, and it has 64,000 pixels on the inside. Very advanced lights. This is obviously having auto dimming properties, ensures that the oncoming traffic does not get blinded. It says Porsche here. In fact, you can see the light elements, just phenomenal. Meanwhile, it has got 6 parking sensors. Yeah, 6 of them, because this car obviously has got self park, and this is the indicator. In fact, the bumper is quite open, so you can see a lot on the inside, but the camera is hidden here, and that is a problem. I'll come to that in a bit. You open this to access the towing provision for the hook, and there is a open vent here so that the engine can obviously breathe better. Now if you notice, the ground clearance is actually quite less because it is a sedan at the end of the day. That's the reason why people will prefer the Cayenne over the Panamera. However, roads are really bad. This thing is painted in gloss black, the front apron, which costs rupees 73,000. There is obviously a camera there for lane keep assist and rain sensing wipers too. The wheels are just amazing. These are forged alloy wheels. Look at this, the center lock. This is just a work of art. Red colored brake calipers. Front tire size happens to be 275 35 21. I love the design of the alloy wheels. But the big thing is obviously the brakes, because they are vented and slotted. And this is a 390mm disc at the front with 6 piston caliper. But I'm a bit disappointed that when you unlock the car at night, it does not do a light show as such. And I love the way the mirrors have been done. Again, a work of art. There's obviously a camera here. There's a light which is basically telling you what's there on the floor. It does not project the Porsche logo or anything of that sort. This seems a bit fake to me, so not really functional. Meanwhile, the length of this car is more than 5 meters. The wheelbase is almost 3 meters. Ground clearance is obviously super duper low here. And I like the way the roofline slopes. In fact, the panoramic sunroof, that's optional. Lot of optional bits. Basic things like ventilated seats, optional. 360-degree parking camera, optional. I'll tell you the pricing when we drive the car obviously. Just put your hand here and obviously it unlocks the doors like really quickly. You can put the Porsche transport system, which can take around 75 kgs of weight. In fact, if you notice, it says Porsche here on the fuel cap as well. Rear tire size is obviously bigger because this happens to be a 325 30 21. Obviously, the rear discs are smaller in terms of size. 365mm. Meanwhile, it's 4 piston caliper, red colored brake calipers with Porsche written on it. And when you come to the rear, you realize that typical Porsche design, because you get this light bar which does not work when you apply brakes. It only works when the night lights are on, connected light. That is the rear fog. It says Porsche here. This rear spoiler now, it opens with a lot of drama, so that's kind of very cool. I love it. It says Panamera GTS here. You get 6 parking sensors, obviously. Sort of a diffuser treatment here. Quad exhaust, yeah, quad freaking exhaust. That's the reflector. And there's a camera here, which by the way also gets the cleaning function, which is phenomenal. There's no rear wiper washer, by the way. There's a high mounted stop lamp. The boot is around 476 liters or something of that sort. However, this car obviously has an audio system which has a subwoofer somewhere here, which takes in around 16 liters. So models without that have a 16-liter bigger boot space, but the boot is occupied by this big fat spare wheel. It says transport of spare wheel only permission with rear seat backrest secured. So you can obviously put the seats down, fold them, but then you cannot transport this spare wheel here. This also opens where they have placed the battery of the vehicle. There's a 12-volt charging socket here. Let's quickly open this and let's see the size of the tires. The tire size happens to be 155/70/20. Yeah, that is small. And look at this. This is such a premium thing. So they have very neatly placed the jack as well as the toolkit here inside. But because of all this, this is extremely heavy. It is so heavy. It is so heavy that in case you have a puncture, first you need to warm up, wear a belt as well, and then only remove the tires because it takes a lot of effort. And they clearly say not for climbing. And I came close. Oh my god, the boot automatically closed. So obviously it has that sensor there. I didn't even wave. Band ho gaya automatically. That was scary. Let's first talk about the lights. Okay, at the rear you have this light show. So whenever you unlock the car at night, it has this nice light animation happening, which is cool, and it happens when you also turn off the car. Coming to the rear, well, it's a 4-seater, but you can pay Porsche extra to make this a 5-seater. They call it a 4+1. Let's put the sun blind up, which is obviously electric. Memory seats for the rear as well, but there are no door pockets here like Chintu Mintu. You can't keep stuff as such. It says GTS here, so notice this design treatment. That's also quite nice. And you have electric adjust because this is an 8-way seat. So yes, this is completely upright right now. I'm trying to make it completely upright. Yeah, there it is moving. It's a bit slow. It's not the fastest in terms of operation. That is completely upright, and now I'm going to recline it completely. The seats are very sporty and nice. I love the seats. And the best thing is you can actually adjust the under thigh support at the rear as well. So yeah, that is kind of cool. But again, door pockets, or rather magazine pockets, are very small, and this is super duper hard. It is a strict 4-seater. 5 people are definitely not welcome here. And AC vents are placed here in the center as well. And this is height adjustable airbag hook. And there's a handle. There's a light placement here on the top. Let's close the door. So space isn't that great here. In fact, under thigh support is not the best. Headroom seems just about adequate. And you have a panoramic sunroof. So one at the front, one at the rear. This one does not open. They have this panel in between, because of which it's not one large glass. This is part of optional kit, this soft pillow here. Now you can recline the seat like this. So 40-20-40 recline if you want to carry longer items. But there's actually an armrest here with GTS written here. That's also part of optional kit, by the way. And there's some storage space here as well, which is nice. And the cool bit is this thing opens. So you just push it, it opens. You can move this cup holder up, down. You can also pull this. So yeah, that is kind of practical. And you have got 2 USB-C charging sockets, 15 watt. Obviously, let me remove this plastic panel. There's a screen here to operate a lot of things. So let's do one thing. Let's actually roll up the blind. So there's an electric blind here for privacy from the rear, which is kind of nice. So this screen does a lot of stuff. You can turn on the air conditioning. You can notice these AC vents cannot be adjusted. So you have to adjust them like this. So they are electrically adjustable, and then strong and soft is what you can decide. I can get into a lot of stuff here, including ambient light and seat comfort. Using this, I can adjust the seat. Yes, that's right. If I want to move the seat ahead and behind, I can do that from here. If I want more space, I can push this seat ahead, giving me complete control as well. The quality of the screen is very high resolution. I can also see data here in terms of the speed, in terms of the compass and all those things, and I can operate the audio system from here. Obviously it's a Bose sound system. This is kind of cool. Ambient lighting can also be adjusted from here. I'll go into the deeper menus when we get ahead, because that is the dashboard of the vehicle, which kind of resembles other Porsche cars now. Space is good. I like the space, but I just wish it was more spacious, because this center tunnel, this actually takes in a lot of space here. And I love the way that they have used something known as race text here on the top. Even on the steering wheel, there's something known as race text, which is sort of Alcantara. The tickling function is not the best here because the opening here is quite small. Let's get out. Look at this goldenish sort of a finish, which is quite premium, obviously. But getting in and out can be a bit of an effort, because obviously the car is like really very, very, very low. Beautiful interior and Isofix child seat mounts here. Obviously, now how do you recline the seat? I will show that to you right away, because not recline, rather fold the seat completely like this if I want to carry longer items. And when you fold both of them, now the boot carrying capacity increases to a massive 12 liters, but the spare wheel hinders all that. Now let's quickly get in right here. Why am I even getting in here? Does it even make sense? It does. I'll show you why. First and foremost, the glove box is actually fully lined. It's not cooled. It has a light here. It has a pen holder as well. There's a pen holder right there. Let's shut this. Okay, now there's a screen here. Do you see the screen? Let me do one thing. Let me actually remove this panel here. Yeah, there is actually a screen. This is a 10.9 inch screen, which is a passenger display, which by the way, like you guessed it, is optional. You can do similar stuff with the screen as well. Get into cockpit and then see a lot of data in terms of speed. You can get into navigation, and you can obviously get into audio as well as into the settings and make changes to a lot of things as well. So yeah, very high resolution screen, but part of optional kit. Remember, this is a Porsche. Almost everything is optional, including this. This actually glows at night. It says Panamera GTS. By the way, if you notice, that's an 18-way adjustable seat. It has, I think, 14-way for the seat and 4-way for the lumbar adjustment as well. The car looks really awesome. I was surprised by the amount of stairs I got. It's like, wow, people love the Panamera more than the 911 or what? Well, that's not true. Here it tells you what should be the tire pressure. Let me press a button here, and as soon as I do that, if you notice, the steering is moving, the seat is moving, and soon the under thigh will, okay, the mirror also adjusted. So this memory function is not just there for the seat, it's also for the steering, it's also for the mirrors, it's also for your personalized settings. And under thigh support is never an issue because that is extending at the moment. So that's nice. So you can say up to 3 people settings. Thankfully, the door pockets are big enough at the front. Power window controls are very premium. This is actually to open the boot of the vehicle. And I am a little bit disappointed that they have removed the twist to start switch. Now you have to press a button here. These are the controls for the light. Proper dead pedal. Okay, these are sort of aluminum pedals, but nobody's bothered to remove the plastic, so I shall do that right away. Yeah, why to keep the plastic? And this has this dual tone interior, which is obviously part of optional kit, and it has the Porsche crest here on the headrest, which is again part of optional kit. It says GTS right there. Yeah, the interior is similar to other Porsche cars. So let's straight away get inside. Before that, let me open the glove box and keep a few things right there. Let's turn off the indicators. By the way, no dynamic swipe indicators here, which is a bit disappointing. Typical Porsche thingy here. So you get a mirror along with the light. Same is the case here as well. When I meant typical Porsche thing is the way the dashboard has been done with way too many screens. In fact, you can get a 10.1 inch screen here as well, part of rear seat entertainment package. Now let's go through this. It says GTS here, which is part of optional kit obviously, and there's some storage space here. Meanwhile, 12-volt charging socket. This has come from Bentley because this partition is a British thing, so you can decide how you want the partition to happen. You've got twin cup holders. This is the case, I think, which is also part of the key cost. And here you just push it. There's a wireless charging pad. There are 2 USB-C charging sockets, 15-watt fast charging. But because this is piano black now, it's a fingerprint magnet. Now, there's a sort of a display here for the air conditioning. It is not the easiest to use, sort of haptics, 4-zone climate control air conditioning system, seat ventilation, seat heating. You can activate both at one time to get confused what's happening to your body. Obviously, traction control button in the center in the nice place, hazard light switch, and these are the AC vents which have to be controlled from the screen itself. It says Porsche design because that clock is part of the sports chrono package. This is the switch which is to operate the gears of the vehicle. So this thing has also moved here, and the analog tachometer has unfortunately gone, so I'm a little disappointed with that as well. There's a heads up display right here. Steering feels nice to hold. You can change the drive modes from here. Yes, right there. And if you press this button, it will give you boost mode. It has got proper physical switches and it's very easy to use. So here you can do it. For the audio system, you can see this is the 5-pod cluster. If I want to change it, all I have to do is just press it and then see. Yes, that's quite nice. It's easy to browse actually. You have got multiple modes here. There's a full navigation view as well, but I think it doesn't do justice to the old one. I can come to the sides and I can browse through a lot of information, including coming into the lap timer. Yes, lap timer in a sedan. Does it make sense? Porsche's like, of course it does. And then I can actually change and come here to the speedometer and come to the G-force meter, tire pressure and all those things. This is pretty awesome because the quality of the screen is amazing. This is a 12.6 inch HD screen. This is a 12.3 inch screen, which is phenomenal to use. All the menus very nicely laid out. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both of them are wireless. It has got self-park. You get into the parking menu, you can do a lot of stuff and it works phenomenally well. Navigation, like I was telling you, is phenomenal. You can come into the car, come to all the settings. There are a lot of settings you need to browse through. Come into assistance, change stuff here, trip meter, comfort, because here you can decide the heating balance. By the way, massage is part of optional kit. Yes, massage is available as well. Lot of menus here. But my personal favorite is obviously the performance menu, because right now when I throttle, it shows me how much accelerator, how much brake I'm applying. That's kind of nice. And I can also see what is the tire pressure, because tire pressure monitoring is there. It shows you how much torque is being given by the car in real time. Expansive menu, but the reverse parking camera is absolutely amazing. So this is the reverse view. Every time you steer, the camera also moves. That's via a software tweak. If I want to change the camera view to the front one, how do I manage to do that? Simply by pressing this button, and there I can change it, and you see how it is moving here. Yeah, that is a software tweak. Obviously, let's come out of this and let me show you the view here. So there are multiple views. You can rotate the car if you want. So all I need to do is rotate it like this. That's kind of cool, but there's a small problem. If you notice, the rear camera is fine, but the front camera, the opening is small because the number plate is right on top. And obviously, if I press this button, it will also clean it. Then I have to come to the rear. Yeah, there's a cleaning function for the rear camera, which is quite nice. By the way, when you turn on the car, it obviously has this nice animation here as well. It says Porsche actually. And then when you turn it off, again, a nice animation, very much like what we see in the 911. So that's kind of phenomenal. This obviously opens. So let me press a button, and there it opens. Now it opens decently big. It's a bit slow, brings in a lot of airiness for what is not a completely light colored cabin. The seats being this light is not that great because they obviously get soiled very easily. They should have given it one big fat glass roof rather than having two-piece roof, which is so much like Mercedes, what they've been doing in C classes and S classes and probably E classes as well. And you know what, the steering is actually easy to adjust because obviously this is electric. So there, I just press it and it moves. By the way, it has got steering heating. There's a button here. If I press this, there it activates steering heating, but you never realize this button unless and until you have been in a few Porsches. Beautiful paddle shifters here. I love the fact everything is neatly laid out. You've got physical control here for the audio system. It's a Bose sound system which has 14 speakers, 710 watt output. The audio quality is just amazing. Listen to my favorite song in a Porsche. Okay, I know I'm getting predictable. By the way, it also has a dust sensor which prevents bad odor and dust from entering the cabin, because this car obviously has got a PM 2.5 air filter where you can see the quality of the interior's air. It has green seats here. I don't know why, but that's kind of funky, showing me how bad the air quality is. Actually, it is decent. Outside it's worse. Obviously, there's an ionizer as well. Let's quickly come into the car settings, wherein you have a lot of stuff. In fact, when you get into reverse now, this blind also goes down, which is not happening right now. Yeah, you can actually configure that to go down as well. And then, one second, let's come back. Rear blind, there, it's removed. Let's just keep it extended only. Let's come into ambient lighting because it has got 64 colors for the ambient lighting as well. Ambient lighting is obviously amazing. The screens are very high resolution, and there's a coating on this particular screen for the co-passenger, because of which from the driver's side you cannot see it, and that's why that screen is known as John Cena. It obviously has the soft close door function. There it pulls the door inside to shut it. It's so smooth and refined. There it goes. But it's all about the driving experience because this is a Porsche. Let's go. All right, it's time to start driving. Okay, the seat also moves ahead and behind. That's kind of funky. Let's turn on the car. It's quite silent for something which has a big fat V8 right ahead. Straight away, let's come into Sport Plus mode. I'm going to turn off the air conditioning immediately so that there's no noise from there. We are going to come into the sport displays here, performance, and we will just have it in dynamic here so you can see that as well. Traction control, I'm going to turn off. PSM sport, vehicle stability restricted. PSM switched off. Yes. Okay, now why is this shutting down? No, don't shut down. I want to time you. We come back on this menu. Okay, it's already come back. We straight away come into drive. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Hazard lights off. Where's the launch control? Oh, it's not there in... Yeah, launch control not there because of traction control off, and acceleration is absolutely brisk. So yeah, that is very, very, very impressive how this car accelerates with so much enthusiasm. Let's quickly do the wiper test. So lot of spray here. The horn. horn is also actually nice here. Now, what has happened with this third generation of the Panamera is their focus is entirely on hybrid. So with the e-hybrid, it has active suspension and whatnot, but we do not have any electric assist here. Yes, because this is a 4-liter bi-turbo V8, which is an engine we are quite used to now because it's used in the whole VW group. This car produces 500 horsepower at 6,800 RPM, and the torque output is 600 Newton meters, 660 Newton meters actually. So the engine is very punchy here. So there's a bit of a lag lower down, but the mid-range is really strong and the top end is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, the way this car pulls is just amazing. I'm sorry I have to come out of this menu. I can't be in this menu because I know there's a speed breaker which is coming ahead. So let me quickly come into the car menu. Quick, make it quick. And now we are going to increase the ride height, which only happens under 30 kilometers per hour. So now let's slow down a bit because there's a speed breaker right ahead. Yeah, ground clearance is a bit of an issue. I press lift and it actually tells me that do you want lift activated in this particular location, so it can save this setting in the future as well, which is quite nice. Anyway, 0 to 100 kilometers per hour comes up in 3.8 seconds, which is quick. 0 to 200 kilometers per hour comes up in 14.6 seconds, which is also quick for something this heavy. And the top speed is 302 kilometers per hour. It obviously has a very nice and smooth engine, but it gets vocal in the mid-range, but it's not very loud as such. In fact, Porsche claims that this car has a sound of 86 decibel at idle and a passing sound of 71 decibel, which honestly is very less, and that's because of the new emission norms. Everything needs to be quite smooth and refined, and that's the reason they want to make hybrid with electric assist. Obviously, you can turn off the internal combustion engine and quietly leave your house without disturbing your neighbors, without making them feel jealous that you're having fun in life. Meanwhile, they are not enjoying this sound. I don't know why, but the sound is not that loud for something which is a V8 engine. I expected more sound here. Now there's a soft limiter at 3,750 RPM, but you know the soft limiter kicks in at 3,000 RPM here only. Porsche claims 3,750 RPM, but beyond 3,000 RPM it does not rev in neutral, so you don't have all those sounds. Cracks, pops and all are also very restricted here. So even though this has a fantastic engine, it's just not loud enough. Performance is really seamless. It's sort of linear here. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4.5 seconds is what it's saying, but we'll do a test properly with launch control. Traction control is off at the moment. Not that it matters because obviously it has got all-wheel drive, so you can't feel the car shifting here and there. This car has got an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic gearbox, which is known as the Porsche PDK, Porsche Doppelkupplung, which stands for dual clutch in German. See, my German is improving. There's a V6 engine option as well. In India, there's a V6 engine option as well, which is a fantastic 2.9-liter V6 engine, which makes 350 horsepower and 500 Newton meters of torque. It goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.3 seconds and has a top speed of 272 kilometers per hour. Meanwhile, the turbo e-hybrid is the one which made the Panamera become very interesting because it has got active suspension. That one has 680 horsepower and 930 Newton meters of torque, going from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.2 seconds and has a top speed of 314 kilometers per hour. With the turbo e-hybrid, there's an electric motor, which is a 25.9 kilowatt hour battery pack. I mean, the battery pack is 25.9 kilowatt hour. The electric motor gives it 188 horsepower and 450 Newton meters of torque, resulting in a blistering performance and an electric only range of 93 kilometers, which is impressive. But there's also a turbo S e-hybrid. So turbo S e-hybrid, that is absolutely crazy, with 770 horsepower and it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.9 seconds, which is crazy. But trust me, the GTS is more than what you would ever need because it is lighter than the e-hybrid, because it does not have an electric motor and batteries, because of which it is absolutely phenomenal through the corners. Okay, e-hybrid obviously has the active suspension, which is amazing in terms of ride, but here just see the way this car is absolutely glued to the road, because I am endless praises about the way this car's handling is, because the steering is super quick. What a phenomenal steering wheel, and that's why a Porsche is a Porsche, because of the way they have calibrated the steering wheel. It's just mind-blowing. So much feedback, so much response. It's just amazing. There are 3 drive modes. There's normal drive mode, there's sport, and there is sport plus as well. Sport plus is obviously the best mode, with active exhaust kicking in, the transmission becoming more aggressive with shifts, the engine obviously being better in terms of output numbers, and the suspension becoming stiffer because there's air suspension, there are adaptive dampers as well. Air suspension has 3 ride height modes. There's a low, which obviously is something that happens once you cross 120 kilometers per hour. There's a normal ride height mode, which gives it a ground clearance of I think 124 or 128 mm, and there's a lift which raises it further, so it drops by 10 mm at 120 kilometers per hour, and you can lift the ride height which is only valid till 50 kilometers per hour, so that you can go through the worst of speed breakers. Yet there are some speed breakers, even with the lift, you have to really angle yourself, because this car can definitely end up scaring you in terms of scrubbing its underbelly. So that's something I need to be really very careful about. In terms of the platform, like I was telling you, it is the same as the previous generation model. It's shared with the Bentley Flying Spur, and when it ain't broke, why fix it? Taking a U-turn and all is super easy. Steering is light. This one does not have rear wheel steering, but there's the option of rear wheel steering. You see how tail happy it can get when you come across to take a U-turn. Yeah, that was absolutely phenomenal, the way it took this U-turn with so much enthusiasm. I absolutely loved it, and it's time to launch this car, and we're going to time it as well. So fantastic handling, absolutely amazing. So straight away we are going to change the cluster mode. I'm going to come to this one, and I'm going to reset this as well. We are going to come into the Sport Plus mode. I'm going to keep traction control on right now because we don't need to shut it at all. And straight away, let me come into the performance meter here. We're going to come into drive. You can see how much torque it is using. And now it's the time to launch this car, which means left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, hold, launch control, Sport Plus. Absolutely bonkers the way it accelerates. 3.66 seconds to go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which is actually faster than Porsche's claim, and you won't believe it, there was actually a positive slope, so it can go faster still. Absolutely mind-blowing the way this car accelerates, which actually brings me to the real highlight of the Panamera, not for this car but for the e-hybrid, which is the active suspension. Basically, with the active suspension now, it just dramatically improves the ride quality of this car and also improves the handling as well. It has a one-chamber air suspension, but this one obviously has a two-chamber air suspension. In fact, it has got amazing balance. Weight distribution is phenomenal. With the active suspension now, they get rid of the anti-roll bars because they don't need anti-roll bars. And although I've not driven the car with the active suspension, I know how magical it is because I've actually had an opportunity to drive the Audi e-tron, the RS e-tron GT Performance. Absolutely phenomenal, the suspension tech on these cars, mind-blowing. And you can always expect Porsche and Audi and the whole VW group to take things a notch above. Look at the way it corners with so much enthusiasm, mind-blowing, the kind of speeds it carries. Unbelievable. Okay, the ride is not the best because really low profile tires here, and obviously this is a car which is on the stiffer side, so that's something which also affects the ride quality of this car. It has got all-wheel drive, it has got torque vectoring at the rear. Rear wheel steering is obviously optional, something which should be standard considering the length of this car, and it has got electronically controlled rear differential lock as well. Now the advantage with the smaller engine is that it's going to be more efficient. This one will obviously drink fuel, return around 4 to 5 kilometers per liter because there's no electric assist here as such. With the V6, the weight is 45 kgs lesser, which means it has better handling because with lesser weight on the nose, the handling will become sharper there. So that's something which is amazing. The weight of this car is around 2100 kgs. In fact, this car weighs so much now, it weighs almost as much as an Audi S8, which is crazy. The two-chamber air suspension has got 2-valve technology, and it's a self-leveling air suspension. Ground clearance is 124 mm. I was saying 120. I was getting confused, but 124 mm ground clearance is not enough, honestly. And then it has got an electronically controlled damping system as well. In fact, for the GTS now, they have a specific rear axle stabilizer too for better stability, and it feels very stable at higher speeds. So this car does not get the option of active anti-roll bars. Instead, if you want a better suspension, you have the option of active suspension, which is obviously phenomenal because when you open the door, the car lifts, and when you close the door, the car drops, and all that magic is obviously there. And talking about options, well, let's go through the pricing of the options because they are absolutely bonkers. I told you about the key, I told you about the headlight, I told you about the front apron as well. Now let's talk about the door sill guard. Okay, there is illumination here. That costs rupees 2.32 lakhs. That's a lot. You notice the interior is two-tone here, which costs rupees 1.48 lakhs. In fact, it has the carbon matte interior package, which costs rupees 1.59 lakhs, and then there's the accent package, which costs rupees 1.16 lakhs. These seats get the ventilation function, which costs rupees 2.17 lakhs, which is crazy. And GTS is actually written on the armrest both at the front as well as the rear. That costs rupees 98,000. The panoramic sunroof, it costs rupees 4.32 lakhs, and the sports chrono package with the Porsche design clock, that costs rupees 2.11 lakhs, which is absolutely crazy. And you have the Porsche backrest on the headrest along with the soft pillows at the rear. That cost rupees 98,000. The heads-up display is phenomenal, rupees 2.76 lakhs. It has a 360-degree parking camera with self-park, rupees 3.09 lakhs. And then it has lane change assist because it has got ADAS. So that lane change assist cost rupees 1.76 lakhs. Please let it be. I will change my own lanes. I don't want to pay that money. And then there's the passenger screen, which costs rupees 1.7 lakhs. That's a lot of money in terms of optional kit here. But then it is a Porsche, so that is expected. Let's quickly change the cluster mode here. So I have to come into the center position. Now it changes. Yeah, I missed the analog tachometer. This one, the 5-pod one, looks kind of cool. But let's quickly come into the navigation menu because that is also nice. Downshift. It's so aggressive in terms of the sound. I mean, the engine is always eager. I just wonder with the electric assist, there will be no lag whatsoever. It's like throttle and bang, you are off. That's the kind of performance you can expect from the Panamera e-hybrid. Now time to do the brake test. Brakes are sure-footed. The wing opens. It's an active wing. Let's quickly change the cluster mode because obviously we can. This is a full map view. I mean, some of the cluster modes kind of feel pointless. This one seems to be the best to me. The good thing is I can actually come to the side and probably change this as well. So let's put the G-force meter, although the speed meter, which is sort of analog, looks quite nice. Here we come into the drive menu only. Just monitor what is the maximum torque we get here. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Now notice one thing what I'm going to do. Launch control activated and off we go. And boost mode activated. 20 seconds of additional boost you can get. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.5 seconds, but there's a slope, so obviously I'll disregard that. But yeah, look at this. 20 seconds of additional boost with the there was a small tire shredded or something of that sort. So yeah, 20 seconds of additional boost with the sport response button, which gives additional grunt. So obviously they don't give you the full output as such. What they do is they tell you that okay, you need to use lesser power output all the time, but for 20 seconds we'll give you the full output. That is so weird because if I pay for the full fat 500 horsepower, I need the full fat 500 horsepower every time I'm in Sport Plus mode. Look at the aggressive downshifts. There is no hesitation here. Yeah, it pulls and it pulls nice and strong. Let's come into the car menu and let's see what we can tweak here. So drive mode, chassis, obviously the ground clearance level, sports exhaust system, start stop, and you can extend the spoiler. But does it have manual control? There it is, making shifts on its own whenever it decides to do so. So yeah, it doesn't give you complete manual control of things. So what is the rival of the Panamera? Because this is a very unique sort of proposition, this car, because it doesn't seem to have many rivals. Well, it competes with the Maserati Quattroporte, the most depreciating car in the world. Then there's the Aston Martin Rapide, there's the Mercedes AMG GT 4-door, and you can also say the BMW 8 Series. This car comes only with 2 variants in India. There is the G3 and there's the GTS. So globally there are more variants, especially the e-hybrid one, and there's the Panamera 4 as well. Price of the lower variant is rupees 2.01 crores, which is actually good because then you don't need all this power. Where are the roads to drive? And this one obviously costs rupees 2.77 crores. There's 32 lakh rupees you have to pay for registration, and then the insurance costs rupees 9.32 lakhs for the first year. And then there are 35 lakhs worth of optional kit on this car as well. The closest rival of this car I think is the BMW M5, which costs rupees 2.36 crores on road Mumbai. That's a hybrid, amazing performance, phenomenal car. But now we're going to stop and launch it again because the launch is the real highlight of this beast. Downshift, so amazing. Okay, let's do a countdown launch. 5 seconds, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, revving the motor, launch control activated, and off we go. Hazard lights off. Oh my god, the performance is absolutely bonkers. 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.57 seconds, which obviously is inaccurate because of the slope. So let's quickly get into the history of this car. It was first showcased as the Porsche 989 back in 2008, and it was launched in 2009 for the first generation. It was unveiled in China first because China is a huge market for Porsche, in fact for almost every car maker, but China has 120 car brands, which means competition is absolutely crazy there. The second generation came in 2016, and this is the third generation, which was launched in 2023, which means that every generation lasts for 7 years. But with this generation they have discontinued the Sport Turismo, which is actually the estate version, because of really poor demand for the estate version of the Panamera globally. In Europe it's as well, but otherwise nobody really wants it. The name is derived from Carrera Panamericana race, which is the same way they derived the Carrera name. So as I see it, the Panamera is a fantastic car, but low ground clearance is a big issue here. The technology and all is good. It's modern, unlike the Cayenne, because the Cayenne would be the next best option to buy because it's an SUV and most people want an SUV. And that's one of the major reasons why this car doesn't sell in such good numbers, because of the low ground clearance and the lack of space at the rear. However, trust me on this car might be a sedan, but it is a proper sports car when it comes to performance, when it comes to dynamics, handling, steering feel and whatnot. This is an amazing car to drive, and that is one of the major reasons why you want to buy one, because you like the 911, but then you also want to keep your kids happy. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to give the thumbs up. That's a like button, and also subscribe to the channel. Red line comes in at around 6,800 RPM. With some of the other models, it hits 7,000 RPM as well. But then Porsche means 8,500 RPM, because that is what is magical. Listen to this.